Hello everyone, hello football fans, welcome back to the XFL Fan Zone. And now that we have all 8 of our coaches and GMs named, and then some, our next big announcement is pretty much not going to be until they announce the team names, logos, and colors, and probably the uniforms also, hopefully. So what I'm going to do for the next 2 weeks is do fun videos like what should the team names be. And today we'll start with Houston. Houston, I was able to come up with a few possible choice names right away for two of them which I think are realistic, one which is not realistic, but here we go. The first one I was thinking about is the Oilers. That's right, the old Houston Oilers. I'm thinking about bringing that name back because I used to love that team. I used to love the old run and shoot with Jack Pardee and Warren Moon, and before that, Jerry Glanville, Bum Phillips. There's a lot of history with those Oilers teams, and they were a good team in many years if it weren't for the Steelers getting their way in the AFC Championship. But I thought it was heartbreaking when the Oilers left Houston for Tennessee, even though they got the Texans now. I think it'd be cool to bring back that name because there's a lot of oil in Texas, a lot of oil in Houston, all that, but because they're in the Gulf of Mexico, there's a lot of refineries there, so a lot of oil gets refined there, so it makes sense to call them the Oilers. Now, the only problem with that, of course, is would the trademarking in NFL affect the XFL? And the answer is probably yes. I think the Tennessee Titans would have to give them permission to do that, and I don't see the Tennessee Titans giving them permission, nor would I see the NFL giving the XFL permission. But hey, listen, it's fun to think about, it's fun to talk about, so let's have fun with it, because let's face it, we all know that the team names, logos, and colors are already, well, they're not announced, but they've already been pre-selected. It's just a matter of time when they're going to let us know. So, the second team name I like was the Hurricanes, because they are in the Gulf of Mexico. They've been hit with some hurricanes, and they've had some pretty bad ones. Well, why not call them the Hurricanes? I know you have the Hurricanes in the NHL, the Carolina Hurricanes. Of course, there's my team, the University of Miami, which I'm going to admit there's a little bit of bias there. I thought it'd be cool to call them the Hurricanes also. But despite those two, my number one selection for Houston would be the Apollos. And no, not the Apollos, the sun god you saw for the Orlando in the XFL, not that Apollos. The Apollos as in the Apollo moon landings, the space missions. Don't forget the Johnson Space Center is located in Houston. After, when anything takes off from NASA from Florida, from the Kennedy Space Center, the Johnson Space Center in Houston takes over and monitors everything. And I guess there were about 17 Apollo missions, moon landings. And of course, who could forget the movie Apollo 13, which Captain Jim Lovell called a big successful failure, where they didn't get to the moon, but under all circumstances they came back and made it back safely. So that's my idea for the Houston franchise. If I had to pick one, it would be the Apollos, the Houston Apollos, named after the space program and the missions that came out of the Johnson Space Center in Houston. My second choice would be the Hurricanes, and as a fun pick, I said the Oilers, because of the old Houston Oilers. So you let me know what you think about that for the Houston team. What would you, fans in Houston, what would you call your team in Houston? I mean, you know Houston better than I do. I've been to Texas, but I've never been to Houston. It's a big state. It's a great state. I'm thinking about moving there one day. But you fans in Houston area in Texas, let me know what you think that the Houston XFL franchise should be called in. And if you don't live in there, let us know what you think anyway. And on the other side note today, it looks like Mark Trestman, the coach of XFL Tampa Bay, has hired his defensive coordinator. And believe it or not, speaking of Houston, it is ex-Houston Oilers coach Jerry Glanville. So for you guys who are too young enough to remember Jerry Glanville, go YouTube him, and let me tell you something. As a coach for NFL Films, he was very entertaining to listen to. He was pretty funny even when he got angry. But Mark Trestman has hired Jerry. So you look